Good morning. Welcome to the Premium Public Video Forecast discussion for Friday, February 9th, 2024. This is going to be an interesting one, as I'm sure some of you have noticed the potential for a winter storm after a very warm weekend. So it's going to get very interesting as we are going to have a difficult forecast as we're going to study each level of the atmosphere, not only in temperature advection, but also moisture transport and the rate of intensification of a storm. So, a very difficult forecast is on the way. So, I wanted to explain why it's difficult. That way, as you look at my forecast as it evolves and you look at other forecasts as they evolve, and most likely your phone app, you understand why there may be some significant changes or why I am doing what I am doing with my forecast. So currently right now we have high pressure pushing off the coast, and that's supporting the southerly wind around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Temperatures range from the mid 30s over the far northern interior in the Poconos, northwestern New Jersey, the Catskills, and down towards the coast, we're already in the lower to mid 40s as the warm air surges into our region. So we have the warm air transport in place. And you can see that very nicely here at 850 millibars with the warm air coming in from the plains all the way into our neck of the woods and driving right into New England. So goodbye cold air, hello warm air. And why is this all happening? It's because our omega block pattern that has been in place for several days and providing very tranquil, quiet, dry weather conditions throughout the region has collapsed. The ridge that was once a dominant ridge here over the Western Great Lakes and Northern Plains has basically weakened and started to push off the coast. And now we're starting to see a gradual pattern change. You can see that all the way back in the Pacific here. You can start to see the trough starting to form here around the Aleutians, a ridge starting to build on the west coast, and a broad trough from roughly the Rockies to the east coast starting to take shape. Now, this whole pattern will continue to evolve. And as this pattern evolves, you'll start to see development of a block taking place in the Atlantic. But we're not there yet. The storm that's on the way is going to really set up that block. But right now, we're in a period of transition, of change. And with that, also the development of colder air approaching. Just to kind of go back here to 850 millibars, where is that cold air mass? It's way up here in Canada, right up here. So all this cold air is waiting in the wings. And if you want to go even further north, here's your Arctic air up here. So let's zoom out for a minute here, and you can kind of get an idea of where our Arctic and polar air has been bottled up. And now, as the pattern shifts, this ridge exits, and we start to get this broad trough that's going to open up the floodgates eventually for this polar and Arctic air to drop south and set up for a second half of February and early March that is going to be rather chilly most days. Obviously, there will be a day or two where it gets warmer, but we are definitely moving towards a colder weather pattern and a stormier weather pattern. How that plays out in terms of snowfall for your location as you sit there, most likely I get a lot of emails from Long Island recently saying that winter's over. You might be in a bit of a surprise because winter is not over and it's coming back and it's going to be sticking around for a bit of time. And the reason why is because of what's happening with the polar vortex and the changes going on in the tropical forcing, moving into phase 8 and then a neutral state. We've been talking about that in the premium discussions for several days now. So that is all starting to evolve. And that is what is essentially taking shape here when we take a look at the water vapor satellite picture. Very active subtropical jet stream. So there's all your moisture. We got plenty of moisture to work with. The question is, when do we have cold air to work with? And that is the primary question heading into next week. That is the most significant question determining what to expect with this snow accumulation potential. So currently right now, we have a warm front lifting through. Because of a lot of low-level dry air, we're not seeing any sign of any precipitation reaching the ground, but certainly plenty of cloud cover as a high-pressure system exits and warm air invades. we're going to have a series of these little weak Pacific cold fronts moving through, producing a threat for an isolated shower, possibly tomorrow evening. The keyword there is isolated and really not much rainfall, maybe 1/100th of an inch. So you might barely notice any type of shower moving through. For the most part, we're just looking at scattered cloud cover this weekend and generally mild conditions at that. And you can see on the infrared satellite picture, all of your lifting is here with the subtropical jet stream and the warm air transport taking shape as our Omega Ridge pattern collapses and a broad trough starts to take hold. So that's where we are right now. The question is, how do we get a winter storm? After all, temperatures this weekend are going to be in the 50s and 40s. Not exactly the best support for snow accumulation on the coastal plain. So, how do we get there? Well, let's take a look at the European model guidance. And at this point, in terms of the overall themes, European, GFS, CMC are generally in the same ballpark. What's interesting to me is that the GFS was going very cold, and it's still way too cold. European has trended colder, but still in the realm of relative expectations in this type of pattern. So currently, right now, what we have at 90 hours out, this is on Monday afternoon, we have convergence and confluence here. This is our polar jet stream, and here's our subtropical jet stream. Here's our short wave coming in from the subtropical jet stream in the Tennessee River Valley. This environment here for Monday afternoon supports sinking air because you have convergent winds here. So dry for most of Monday, pretty quiet, right? Then we get into Monday evening. All right, now 500 millibar heights begin to fall. We start to see interaction between the polar and subtropical jet stream, but not a phase, not yet. At this time period on Monday night, your 500 millibar low is out here in the Tennessee River Valley. Your 850 millibar low is right around Virginia. Keep an eye on the track of these features. So let's go up to the 500 millibar pattern here. And here is our 500 millibar low quickly marching through the Tennessee River Valley towards West Virginia and then towards the mid-Atlantic coast. Notice the 500 millibar low does not push much further north. Why? Because of the interaction with our polar jet stream and a very impressive block here over Quebec and Ontario. So this upper level low prevents this low from moving any further north. Okay. Why is that important? Well, go back to 90 hours, take a look at your 850 millibar low. Here we are in the evening hours, 7 p.m. We got warm air transport, we have frontogenesis, we have lifting at all levels of the atmosphere. So you're going to see increasing cloud cover, and you're going to start to see precipitation breakout. Around midnight, notice our 850 millibar low tracks towards southern New Jersey. This is very important. So the track here allows for cold air to start to bleed in to the Poconos, northern New Jersey, Connecticut, maybe even portions of Long Island by this point. And then on Tuesday morning, the 850 millibar low is south of Long Island with an intensifying surface low pressure system, support at all levels for intensification, and developing 700 millibar low. Note the 700 millibar low development is starting to take shape right around Long Island. So typically when you're studying these types of forecasts, the heaviest precipitation takes shape to the north and northwest of this developing low. So right about here. Usually you see precipitation shields adjust based on that orientation. Sometimes it takes a while, especially in this scenario where we have a lot of changes going on. And then by the time we get to Tuesday afternoon, a storm is rapidly moving out. So this is a fast moving storm. It's not going to sit there and spin for 12 hours. It's going to develop, move through, and exit. So let's say 7 p.m. Monday to about 4 p.m. Tuesday would be the periods of impacts of this storm development. Then we get to the tricky part. So this part is pretty well handled as far as the evolution of the 500 millibar pattern and the evolution of the 850 millibar lows. So pretty simple, right? This is where it gets a little bit more difficult. Right? This is at 850 millibars. I'm going to start with this here. And you can see the freezing line on Monday afternoon at 850 millibars. It's generally right around the Poconos, northern New Jersey, call it the Hudson Highlands, the Catskills, and the uh, Hudson River Valley. And it's a rather marginal air mass at that. This is not a very cold air mass. So you get precipitation starting off here by the time you get to the evening hours as a rain snow mix. Very difficult for accumulation because you have your 9 to 25 millibar temperatures around 1 to 2 degrees Celsius. So this is a warm environment starting out even for the northern interior. Then we get to midnight. This is a 6-hour time period. So we go from here to here. Okay, that is the influence of our intensifying low pressure system. So you could see our rain snow line at 850 millibars has dropped down towards the Connecticut coast, northern New Jersey, Lehigh River Valley, and very marginal here over southeastern Pennsylvania, but certainly chillier than what's down here in southern New Jersey. And you got about a 8 to 10 degree gradient here taking shape here, 6 to 10 degree gradient, should I say, between southern New Jersey and Delaware and northern New Jersey and the Poconos. So very impressive gradient that supports very strong frontogenesis, strong lifting, strong rising in the atmosphere, and heavy precipitation. So this is at around midnight. It's like 1 a.m. on Tuesday, right? And when we take a look at 850 millibars, let's also look at 925 millibars. Pretty close to 850 millibar line. So this tells me your rain snow line is very close. You're not going to see a lot of scenarios where you're going to have rain, a large area of sleet, and then snow. This is rain mixing, changing over to snow sleet pretty quickly, right? But the problem is the boundary layer temperatures. Well above freezing in southern New Jersey, obviously. Right around the I-95 corridor in the mid 30s. Interior, between 30 and 34 degrees. Okay, so we don't have really cold air. So this makes a 10 to 1 ratio on your snow maps a little bit of a problem because you're not dealing with that type of ratio. Then we get to Tuesday morning and look at this plummet. Okay, now this is a sign of an intensifying low pressure system. And I'm seeing signs here that maybe we might deal with some convective snowfall as well. With usually I look between -6 and -8 for your best potential for convective snowfall when you're taking a look at 8 to 50 millibar temperature gradients. So right around this area right here. Obviously, strong cold air transport at 850 millibars. So, in terms of 850 millibars, hey, everyone goes over to snow. 925 millibars, yeah, maybe snow, sleet, rain on the Jersey Shore, snow over the I-95 corridor, snow over the interior. But this is where things get complicated. You see, the boundary layer temperatures, because again, ground temperatures, we were in the 50s, crashing through the 40s into the 30s. So you need strong lifting, and your temperatures are above freezing here over southern New Jersey, right around freezing on the I-95 corridor, and obviously below freezing over the interior. Interior, by this point, no issue with accumulating snowfall on all surfaces. But the I-95 corridor becomes a bit of a challenge, okay? So this might be a scenario where you get snow accumulating on your grass, on your car tops, but your blacktop and roadways remain wet because you're in the process of cooling. Now, if you have intense lifting, and we'll go back to the 500 millibar map here, and we'll go to 108 hours. And you see that there's pretty good sign here of strong lifting here at all levels of the atmosphere, especially at 700 millibars. That could overcome that boundary layer issue. That is something I'm going to have to work out over the next 48 hours as we work on this forecast. But the boundary layer temperatures are going to be a real pain in the neck to forecast for the I-95 corridor in relation to accumulation. So your 10 to 1 snow maps that you'll probably see floating around, regardless of what model you use, will easily put out 4, 5, 6 inches of snow, but what actually accumulates may be a different story because of this issue. Then Tuesday afternoon, this is what happens when your strong lifting leaves. Your precipitation's starting to exit, but this is still 1 p.m., so you got about another maybe 2 to 3 hours worth of precipitation still ongoing here. Lower 40s here in southern New Jersey, mid to upper 30s around the I-95 corridor, upper 20s to mid 30s. So what does this tell me? Marginal air mass that takes some time to build in. Okay. So again, at 850 millibars, that's not the issue. The issue is the boundary layer temperatures, and that's usually becomes more and more of an issue as we move through February. But in this case, we'll just focus on this case here. This makes using a 10 to 1 snow map that you might see floating around from model guidance very untrustworthy, because you're going to have to deal with boundary layer conditions, elevation conditions, and determining what is the rate of the cold air transport at each level of the atmosphere. 8 to 50 millibars, pretty easy. 9 to 25 millibars, a little bit more tricky. Boundary layer surface temperatures, very difficult. And of course, just to throw in a little caveat here, if you get stronger lifting lingering here around, let's say, New York City and southern Connecticut, these temperatures might be around 34 with some accumulation. But again, the sun angle rising here also helps to limit some of that accumulation idea. So it is going to be a difficult forecast. So I kind of wanted to lay that out for you to understand that it's not just a storm track, it's also what is the rate of the cold air transport from Monday night into Tuesday, from temperatures in the 40s and 850 millibar temperatures around 8 degrees Celsius on the coastal plain, to the conditions in the morning hours where you have temperatures crashing a good 10 degrees very, very rapidly with intensifying low pressure system and limitation. So with this, I think your best potential for snow accumulation is going to be late Monday night as the precipitation changes over into Tuesday morning. And then once you get past, let's say, about 10 a.m. on Tuesday morning, then that accumulation becomes more and more difficult. So this is a map I've been that has been in place for premium members. So I just kind of want to give you an idea where I'm going here. So again, the green, rain, pretty much rain. You might see snow in the air, but not much actually accumulating on the ground, because your temperatures are going to be at the coldest, like 36, 37 degrees. Then, as you move towards the Philadelphia Metro and Central New Jersey, this is where you get your changeover, but it's difficult to accumulate. So 2 inches maybe on your grass, a trace on the roadways, that type of scenario. Then it gets very difficult north and west of I-95 and then into the New York City Metro, northern half of Long Island, where you could range anywhere from 1 to 4 inches. Why the wide berth here? Because we could be talking about maybe a half an inch on the roadways and 4 inches on the grass, or in case of New York City, 4 inches reported in Central Park, but just wet sidewalks as you're walking around Manhattan. And then this is in the interior is where I like the better potential for 4 to 8 inches of snow, somewhere in that range. Again, this could change, obviously. Mile guidance is higher here, but I'm trying to take into consideration the rate of changeover, whether or not we start off at a 6 to 1 ratio and gradually rise. How fast does that rise? And then that threat becomes less of an issue further north in northern Connecticut, up towards New Paltz and in the mid Hudson River Valley and Poconos, northeastern Pennsylvania, where the changeover is faster, the cold air is deeper, and this is where some people could push over 8 inches. So that's generally what I'm thinking right now. This will change as I get more data and get a better understanding of what we're going to be dealing with this storm. But that's generally the idea here. So let's dive into this forecast for today. High pressure is exiting, warm front lifts through, sky cloud cover. Look for temperatures to range from the upper 40s to lower 50s on the immediate coast, lower to mid 50s everywhere else. Tonight into tomorrow morning, look for sky cloud cover and isolated showers possible, but very, very light. Low temperatures will range from the mid to upper 30s. For tomorrow afternoon, sky cloud cover and isolated showers possible, with high temperatures ranging from the mid to upper 50s. On Sunday, our cold front has exited. We start to get this modified polar air mass, not a true polar air mass just yet, building into the region with sky cloud cover. Look for low temperatures to range from the lower to mid 30s over the northern interior, upper 30s to lower 40s along the coast. High temperatures will range from the lower to mid 40s over the northern interior, upper 40s to lower 50s along the coast. On Monday, our storm approaches. Clouds increase throughout the day, but remaining dry. Look for precipitation start to break out in the late afternoon and evening hours. Temperatures on Monday will range from the mid to upper 20s over the northern interior, upper 20s to lower 30s along the coast. High temperatures will range from the lower to mid 40s. So a modified polar air mass is pretty much new normal for this time of year on Monday. Monday night into Tuesday morning, our low pressure system begins to intensify. You can see the rain here on the coastal plain. Rain changes over to snow over the interior as we go through this process. By Tuesday morning, our low pressure system is passing to the south of Long Island and the south of New England, pretty close to the benchmark here, with the cold air bleeding in, and you can see that changeover taking shape, and you can see the snow taking shape around the I-95 corridor. Again, this is when temperatures are around 32 to 34 degrees. So very marginal in terms of support at the boundary layer, but certainly at the mid levels, plenty of support for snowfall. You can see that wintry mix pushing all the way down close to southern New Jersey. So let's say around Cape May, you have snow in the air mixing with rain, but nothing actually accumulates, as what we like to call is white rain. Meanwhile, as you head towards central New Jersey, you got rain that has changed over to snow, but difficult accumulation. And then as you go over the interior, no issue with accumulation, just steady snowfall. Again, one of the things we have to also figure out is what is the cutoff on the northern side of the storm. That's something we're also going to work on and fine tune as we go on over the next 48 hours. Temperatures on Tuesday will plummet into the upper 20s to lower 30s over the northern interior, lower to mid 30s around the I-95 corridor, mid to upper 30s along the coast for lows. As the storm pulls away, temperatures will rebound in the afternoon, with temperatures rising back into the lower to mid 30s over the northern interior, mid to upper 30s around the I-95 corridor, and lower to mid 40s down towards the Philadelphia metro and southern New Jersey. On Wednesday, high pressure will be in place with sky cloud cover. Look for low temperatures to range from the upper teens to lower 20s over the northern interior, lower to mid 20s along the coast. High temperatures will rebound into the upper 30s to lower 40s over the northern interior, mid to upper 40s along the coast. On Thursday, another low trough passes through the region with a few snow showers. Not looking for much in the way of accumulation, but just a few pesky snow showers. This will be an Arctic cold front, and you'll definitely notice the difference with low temperatures ranging from the lower to mid teens over the northern interior, upper teens to mid 20s along the coast, high temperatures in the lower to mid 20s over the northern interior, upper 20s to mid 30s along the coast. And on Friday, a few snow showers will be possible with breezy conditions. Other than that, sky cloud cover with low temperatures in the lower to mid teens over the northern interior, upper teens to lower 20s along the coast, and high temperatures ranging from the mid to upper 20s over the northern interior, lower to mid 30s around the New York City metro, and mid to upper 30s in the Philadelphia metro. That is your forecast discussion for today. I'll have updates throughout the weekend and try to iron out this storm and put out a public map before the end of the weekend as we fine tune the details on next week's storm. That is today's forecast. Have a wonderful day. And as always, stay safe out there.